Hey everybody, my name is John Anthony Chihawk Soltero, and I am the creator of the Bubba Patrol. Um, our campaign is still live, and it is going until August the 28th, which is a Wednesday. We got it extended, and the campaign it's really struggling right now. We've raised some funds outside of the campaign at a couple of different events and through contributions from local fans here in Tucson. Um, we've done a couple of different things to raise money and gain some interest, including offering some sketch covers to be auctioned. Um, uh, and so I've been kind of neglecting the campaign because I've gotten a little dismayed and I've gotten a little sidetracked, really worrying about that aspect of it. One of the things that I do my very best, especially with the creation of my comic books, and specifically with the creation of the Bubba Patrol, is to be honest and have transparency. Um, the deadlines for the Bubba files, for it reaching to people who pick those perks and back at that level, there's not going to be any changes to that. So if you backed it or you want to back a perk for the Bubba Files, please do so, and you will get your books on time in the month of September. Um, One of the things I wanted to stop and talk about with the Bubba Patrol is how this story is super organic and how it came to be. I originally envisioned the Bubba Patrol as the dogs Sabu, Guri, and Foley. And they were originally going to exist within the really real world, like right here. And it wasn't until I wrote the first script, and I didn't do a plot or anything, I just started writing the script and banged it out really quickly. Um, really fast, and it had great dialogue. And Sabu had already been a part of the book Euthanasia when he appeared in a free comic book day giveaway in 2009, which became the first 4 pages of issue 5 of the Euthanasia series. So I decided to use those first 4 pages where Agnew finds Sabu on the streets of Apex City and brings him home as kind of a precursor in establishing um, that there was a dog there, and the series takes off. Um, what I decided to do after finishing the script, I printed it out, I put it on my desk. I believe that was April of 2017. I had just hit, and this is all this is all my cards on the table. This is everything. I had just reached 1 year of sobriety. I had hit about 3 or 4 months without using any nicotine or tobacco or anything like that. Never really been somebody who uh, used any other kinds of recreational drugs, and I decided that it was finally okay for me to take on the mantle, to take on the 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 label of being straight edge. I was okay with it at that point in time. Um, so I printed out the first issue, 22 pages, and I put it on my art desk right here where I'm filming this. And excuse me. And the reason I printed it out, put it on my desk, was because I felt I could no longer ignore it. If it was in physical form, I was going to be forced to deal with it. I would have to start working on the art. Well, April turned into May, Free Comic Book Day 2017 came and went, and the Memorial Day weekend was upon us. It was a Saturday. It was the 27th of May, and I decided to celebrate realizing and recognizing and wanting to be straight edge. that I would go and get a tattoo. And um, I got a tattoo of PMA, which stands for Positive Mental Attitude, which isn't just something that's only part of being straight edge, but it's just a part of believing that you can do something. You set your mind to it. You get positive. You think you can do it. You do it. So I had just recently started a new job, which I was liking very much. It was going to help relieve a lot of stress from me from a previous job. Um, it was going to fix some things financially. A lot of different things were going on. So I wanted to kind of pay tribute to that. I went and I got my tattoo. I came home, and it was 4 years to the day when Sabu died. I came home, and Guri died. And it was at that point that I realized I can't put this off anymore. I can't. This has to get done now. I had decided, because it was a 3-day weekend, I was going to rearrange my house and set up shop so that I could do my art out in the living room and have my couch out there and everything, so that I could have more than just one person over, and we could watch movies and draw and hang out and stuff like that, and it would all be together. And I didn't want to do it, but I told myself, I was like, no, that was the plan. That was what you were going to do anyways, so you need to do it. And I did. And the first thing I did at my new desk um, setup was I drew a sketch card of Guri. Um, and that sketch card became the indicia up in the corner of all the anti-hero brand kids um, books. It's Guri, the little space dog floating in space with her space helmet and little rings on her tail, planets and the quasars and stuff shooting behind her. And I ended up just starting to get to work on the book. And um, so even though the book was supposed to take place, like the characters were supposed to live within our universe, when I started writing it, it just made sense that they exist within the anti-heroverse. And they live in Apex City, and they be tied into the Agnew character, and not to me as me, but tied into me as in this universe that I created, started creating 20 years ago, 23 years ago. And what I found out was a number of different things that make me really, really happy, that keep me motivated. And this is really the only project that I've worked on for the past 3 years, or the past 2 years, I should say. Um, I I busted out um, um, I busted out issue one, ran a Kickstarter for it, went 400% over the very, very small goal of $300, just to have something ready to print for Tucson Con that year, which is where it was going to debut. So we were able to print lots of, like, way more issues. We had 2 retailer covers, which were really, really great to be able to do. One of the Bubbas with Sugar Skulls, the Dia de los Muertos, which was coinciding with the same weekend. And um, the other featuring Agnew and Foley and Grayson at El Tiradito here in South Tucson. It's a wishing shrine, and it's a place where it's kind of like an ofrenda for the community. And an ofrenda is, for those of you who are not familiar with Dia de los Muertos and the Latino culture that celebrates it, an ofrenda is an altar that is where you put imagery of your loved ones who are gone. And you put, out their favorite foods, and you put out um, flower petals and different spices and salt specifically, um, and just pictures, and you tell the stories. Hey, Buddy, buddy, Pop's telling the story right now. Yeah, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, Munchkin Man. Ah, guys, this is Grayson. For those of you uh, on Indiegogo who didn't follow the Kickstarters, this is Grayson. This is the Electric Poochie Lou, which is exactly what I was getting to next. Um, so Grayson actually first appears on the old Pueblo Comics cover, but he's very very small on the cover, and you don't see his face. Um, isn't that right? That's right. So even though Grayson was a part of the Bubba Patrol here with me at the time of the first issue, he wasn't in the first script. He was meant to show up in the second script, in the second issue, which he did. Now, for those of you pop culturists from, who study the 80s or love the 80s, um, it's always thrown out there. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Now, he's the Electric Poochie Lou, and that is both a play on Electric Boogaloo and um, when me and my sister were little, and I think more specifically me, my mom used to call us Poochie Lou as a just a term of endearment, and it stuck with me. So what happened was it was not mentioned. It's not anywhere in the book, but it's Bubba Patrol 2 Electric Poochie Lou. And at the very, very end of the issue, there's the big panel with Grayson on it, and he says hi. So that's his big first appearance. And the end of it, the letters going out of it say, "Next, there shall come a Bubba." And because he is named after my favorite character, Dick Grayson Nightwing, issue 3 was supposed to be his story. And what happened with that was uh, the character Cypress, who was also my dog from freshman year in high school through 2008, so almost 16 full years I had her. Um, she was the first Bubba. She was the Bubba before there was a Bubba Patrol. And she saw me through a lot of stuff. And so when I started writing issue 3, I came up with the plots and I was looking at stuff, and for some reason, knowing what I knew, it just turned into Cypress's story, her origin, and why she's a hero. So even though to play on Tales of the Teen Titans issue 44, Nightwing's first appearance, Dick Grayson as Nightwing's first appearance, and it says there shall come a Titan, and this one is there shall come a Bubba. There shall come a Bubba. That's Cypress, the first Bubba. So that's the third issue that I'm working on right now. I'm doing the digital inks on it as well. And with the Bubba files, you'll see the whole Electric Poochie Lou play out. But issue 3 has a lot of really fun things in it. I have 3 cameos from people in my lives. My stepdad is in it, um, and um, one of my good friends, Kaylee, she is in it. She became a big fan of Agnew. Agnew's her favorite character, but after reading issue 2 and seeing the progress on the Bubba Files story about Grayson, Grayson is her favorite of the dogs, and she's been a big supporter of the books. And then my friend Shane, who is a nurse in Chicago, she actually plays an EMT in the story. And so there's a lot of personal aspects to this. Like, as much as euthanasia was my baby, and still in a lot of ways is, the Bubba Patrol is the most personal and is the most organic story I've ever told. And it makes me so happy, and it actually makes me tear up thinking about what I can do with this. Now, this little guy, this little noisemaker, he's an anxious guy. He doesn't like when I leave for work. His favorite part of the day is when I come home, just like Foley's. And it's seeing the look in their eyes, and watching them snurfle and play and run around and just be silly and play with toys and just be calm and know that I have to get these things done means a lot to me. And last night, I saw a friend's post on Facebook, and they were talking about all the people that they've lost in their life, and their list became extremely long. And so I started thinking about Cypress and Sabu and Guri and the things that they saw me accomplish and the things that they never got to see. Cypress got me through high school. She got me through a couple of rough relationships, or not rough relationships, but letdowns and sorrow from losing those relationships. She got me through losing my grandfather, who's my hero. She got me through cancer, and she got me through college. She saw that. She saw the first issues of the books of euthanasia created. She saw her boy become a comic book creator. Sabu got to see himself in the 4 pages from Euthanasia number 5. He got to see um, all the way up to issue 6 and 7 created. Um, he saw me buy my house um, and this become the Bubba Manor or the Bubba Cave. Um, Guri got to see the script for issue 1 finished. She got to see me become sober and quit smoking and become straight edge, which is important to me. Um, she also got to see me start a new career path at a new job that allowed me less stress and understanding of who I am, and the things that they didn't get to see with the first issue of the Bubba Patrol or the second issue of the Bubba Patrol or the Bubba Files, and not going to get to see issue 3. And something I realized when Cypress died in June of 2008, 11 years ago. I remember taking her to the vet. She's very old. She body was starting to break down, and I wanted it to be more respectful, and I wanted it to be me who did it because I was her boy. Still am her boy. She showed me compassion and respect and unconditional love at a time when I was very confused and angry, and helped usher me into adulthood and accept my creativity and accept that this was what I wanted to do with my life. Um, and she went out, and her physical form was gone. The very next day, after taking Sabu and Foley and Guri to the dog park, me and my then girlfriend sat at home and we watched a movie. The movie was Powder. And the movie is from the 90s, and it's kind of an awkward, quirky movie, and it's about this kid whose mother went into labor, and as she went into labor she was struck by lightning, and that imbued him with the abilities to use 100% of his brain power all the time, so he could do all these different things, and he was ostracized for it because he looked different. He was albino. He had no hair on his body, and he was basically outcasted in the very small town that he lived. The final scene of the movie, Powder goes running out into the field. And I don't know if any of you have seen this movie before, and so there's spoilers here, but it's also spoilers for my life, and it really made an impact on me. He runs out into the field and he bursts into energy. Like he becomes energy. And I burst into tears and I started crying just like I had the day before. when I had to say goodbye to Cypress, because it dawned on me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. She's not gone. Because I realized that once energy is created, it will change shape, it will change form. Sometimes you can see it, sometimes you can't. But you cannot destroy energy. It's always there. And that's a very powerful thing for me to realize, just not just about myself and about these wonderful, amazing dogs who are parts of my life, but it's a good message for everybody in the world that, like, when you lose somebody, they're not gone because you can remember them, and because even though that physical form is no more or has changed, that energy is still there. And that's a super powerful message for me, because I love comic books and I love heroes, and I love these dogs, and they're my heroes every day. And them seeing me through some of the hardest times in my life and getting me to where I need to be is why I have to give them this legacy, is why I want to give them this legacy, because we've all had somebody or something in our life that connected to us and understood us on some level. And that's why it's important to stop and listen to people. And that's why it's important to stop and appreciate the small things in life, even if that small thing is a small dog. Because sometimes all it takes to change the world are a couple of small dogs with big hearts. I hope this story inspires you to create and reach out to people and just listen to yourself, because I think about it a lot, and this is my calling. This is what I want to do, and I love it. And I probably shouldn't say it, but I would do it for free. But I want the world to be able to see these heroes. So if you check the link in the description, you can go to the campaign. You can pick a perk. If you don't want to pick a perk and you just want to contribute, that helps us greatly as well. And we just hope that you have a wonderful day, and a wonderful weekend, and a wonderful week, and a great year. Just remember, you can't destroy energy. It's always there. Thank you.